This is Michael Tucker, and you're watching the new Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Conde.
Hello, my name is Luis Arroyo. I'm a senior at Horizon Baseball, and one of the things that Coach Dane has taught me over the years is how to be a resilient person. Keep trying after failure and keep trying to find those little details to make yourself a better player and also a better person. And that's something I love about him, that his continuous mission is to make us both great players and great persons, which is something I admire.
Hello, my name is Casey Simmerly. I'm a senior at Horizon High School. I pitch and play first base. One of my favorite things about Coach Wisneski is his fiery spirit to make us better and how hard he pushes us during every single practice, every single lifting session, because of how much that he feels that we can grow and get better.
Hello, I'm Jose Massanet. I am a junior at Horizon High School. I play shortstop for Horizon Baseball. And one thing I've learned from Coach Dane is to always go 110% in and out of the classroom, because you never know what the chances will be if you go 50%, 60%, if you're half doing everything. And if you go 110%, you never know what the chances will be to be great.
I'm Jaden Blanco. I'm an upcoming junior. I play catcher and outfield. And one thing I like about Coach Dane is how he keeps us disciplined and makes sure we're working hard on and off the field.
My name is Ben Rothwell. I'm a pitcher for Horizon Baseball, and Coach Wiz has taught me about leadership, responsibility, and how to persevere through things.
Hi, my name is Luke Helms. I'm a pitcher and third baseman at Horizon High School. Coach Dane has taught me many things, but one that has stuck with me the most is to take advantage of every day and work hard every opportunity I get, because if I'm not out there working, someone is out there working and getting better than me. Thanks, Coach Dane. Love you.
Welcome to episode 48 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with co-host David Conde. We've commented before here at Legends on Deck quite a bit about high school baseball in the state of Florida and it being a whole different level of baseball. Our guest today is Coach Dane Wisneski of Horizon High School. Dane had the opportunity to build the Hawks program from scratch in 2021 when the school opened. And he is no stranger to high school baseball or college baseball in the state of Florida. Dane, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brian, David, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Excited to, get on this growing podcast.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta say one thing, Brian. 48. Oh my God, we are about to hit 50.
Hitting the big 5-0 soon. Yeah.
When you brought this to me a year and a half ago, I said we're not gonna get past 10. I think we're gonna just die off. We're gonna just be too tired, and we push along. So yeah, that milestone is coming quick. So Dane, glad to have you as number 48 on the podcast. That's awesome. So we're gonna get started with the first question we kind of ask every one of our guests to come on. Give us an idea. Where did you grow up? When did you start playing the game? Who instilled the game in you, the love of the game? And what are some of your childhood memories of the game, to where you're at right now?
For sure. I grew up in Jupiter, Florida, which is a little bit north of West Palm Beach. And at the time, Jupiter's a small little place. It's much bigger now, but, at the time, it was a smaller little area. So the guys that I grew up playing with are guys that, I played with throughout, from youth ball to high school. But as a kid, I went wherever my older brother went. So my older brother started going to soccer practice, I was there. My older brother started going to baseball practice, I was there. And, anything he did, I wanted to do. And when he started going baseball, I just thought it was the coolest thing. I'd go out there and play catch with the coach. I wasn't old enough to play yet, but I think just from a little kid, 3-4 years old, just getting the opportunity to be out there and play this game that just seems so different than other games was something that really, resided in me and made me want to continue to play the game, and as I got older and started playing, we had Cal Ripken, not Little League, but started playing Cal Ripken baseball, moved into travel baseball. And next thing you know, baseball is what I do. Baseball is everything. Baseball from sun up to sundown. As a middle schooler, elementary school, I was homeschooled. So after I was done, 9:30 in the morning, you could see me out in the back playing baseball. Me and my older brother hitting, throwing, running after each other. That's what we did. And that's what we continue to do and fall in love with the game more and more. So from there, played travel baseball, went on to play high school. I played at Palm Beach Gardens High School for a coach named Joe Russo. He actually retired 2 years back. And I think, he's an incredible coach. He's got 400 or 500, maybe even 600 wins. He has been at Palm Beach Gardens High School a long time. And we had a great program there, multiple years. We were ranked top 25 in the country. But ultimately, we fall short just like every other team except one. But that just kept driving us and, it kept driving me to want to continue to play. So, as a high schooler, my whole thought process was I'm going to play professional baseball. So I worked my butt off to try and make that happen. So from high school, I went on to play at Daytona State College for 2 years. There, I learned so many different things about not just baseball, but about work ethic, about coaching, about different styles in coaching. And I think, at that point, it started to kind of manifest in me that coaching might be something that I want to do. Just seeing how the coaches went about what they do, and each coach a little bit different, but each coach getting the best from that player. I thought that was, really cool, and it impacted me. And as we sit here today, I continue to coach baseball. But from Daytona State, I went on to play at Florida Gulf Coast University down in Fort Myers. I got to play there 2 years. My junior year, so my first year there, started a lot of games. My senior year, not so many, but I think that transition from junior to senior year is where I started to, really dive into wanting to coach the game and, perfect what I do in the game so I can teach others the game. So as an outfielder, I really started to pay more attention to the drills, ask the whys, start to look at how I can get this information and work to help others because, at this point as a senior in college, I knew that coaching was definitely going to be the next step for me. And, from there, I coached at Florida Gulf Coast for a couple of years, coached the outfield, coached first base, worked on different things, worked with some great guys, a bunch of dudes getting drafted. We had a Louisville Slugger Freshman of the Year for the entire country by Jake Knoll. We had a lot of good baseball players that I was lucky enough to coach. And, I was actually listening to one of your podcasts earlier in the week where you had Lassiter on, and he was talking about how the coaching lifestyle in college is tough. And it is. And I remember one day I had worked like 54 days in a row. I'm like, man, I love coaching, but there's got to be something where I get a little bit of a break, so I started to look at high school. And from there, I got an assistant coaching job at Taveras High School. Started teaching and, eventually wanted to become a head coach. So from there, after 3 years at Taveras, which again, oddly enough, is where Lassiter started coaching high school baseball. I moved on to University High Schooler by UCF, where I was the head coach for 3 years. And like you mentioned earlier, I've been the head coach at Horizon High School since they started. So, full circle, looking back, baseball is an incredible thing. There's so many different things that can take you on journeys like I've been on, but just being able to stick with something and be so dedicated and locked in on one thing and all aspects of that thing. You get to see some things, you get to travel, you get to be a part of something that's so much different than just the normal normal college student, normal high school student. You get to be a part of so much more. And, I think that's one of the main reasons why I coach is I want to give that opportunity to young people to, find what I've found and to continue to see things and expand their, lives and their thought process, and not just be so, closed-minded on one thing, but to be able to travel, see things, learn things. And, baseball gives you that incredible vehicle to do that.
So I picked up a lot of stuff you just said, but I picked up on one thing, Jupiter. So
yeah,
you got to tell me, because I just visited Jupiter with my son,
yeah.
and we went to Juno Pier.
Mm-hmm.
So did you fish growing up? Was that a big part
Yeah.
of it? I see that baseball and fishing go together. So did you do that?
Yeah, I did, man. I did. Anywhere by the water, I was there. I actually, growing up, as with baseball, and I played soccer and I played basketball, but I was terrible at that. I dove, so I would do springboard diving, like they see in the Olympics, and so I was always around water. But yeah, Juno Pier. My parents would drop us off there. We'd hang out at the beach. We'd bring our rods. We'd fish off the pier. There were some times I'd be out there in the morning on my paddleboard or swimming around, and the people on the pier are pissed off you're too close to them, so they're throwing their bait at you to get you to back off because you're scaring the fish. I've been around the ocean and fishing my whole life. We'd go spear fishing off of the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach. We'd go wake surfing behind the boat. It's not a bad place to grow up, man. It's definitely not, 10 minutes from the beach. And if we weren't playing baseball, if we weren't at a baseball game, if we're in at Roger Dean Stadium watching minor league ball, watching spring training, we were probably at the beach fishing.
Yeah, that's a good pier. And I mean, I think I understand the passion my son has because he plays ball and he fishes. I mean, you look over onto the water and you see all that bait and all the fish right there. And I was actually reeling in bait. I'm like, wow, this is easy. I get you the bait, you fish it. There you go.
There you go. Hey, that's not a bad system. That's not a bad system at all.
Yeah. Hey, you guys got the I'm right in the, well, Dan, you are now too, but right in the middle of the state. We got a lot of lakes around here, but we don't have that. Ocean is a whole different thing.
Man, I tell you, whenever I go back home or get close to it, just you just feels like home a little bit when you get close to the ocean again, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go into I want to go back to Florida Gulf Coast a little bit. They had a huge season this year. I don't know how they ended up not making the tournament, but I think I read they had the #1 offense in the country. So you went from playing, you went JUCO first, and then went to Florida Gulf Coast.
Mm-hmm.
What's that transition like when you're going from a JUCO level, which is in Florida very good baseball, and then going into a D1 program after that?
Yeah, to touch on their season, FGC had a great season. Coach Tillett does a great job there. I know why they didn't make it. It's something Coach Toe said all the time. RPI. You have to have these RPI points, and you got to be in the tops. You really got to be in the top 50 to give yourself a chance. They were in the ASUN championship game. They lost to Lipscomb, I believe, who's another great program. But they did have the best offense in the country. I think they led the country in home runs.
Yeah.
And they also, I think, led the country in runs and maybe even batting average. And they actually mentioned, I think, a couple times during the World Series when LSU played, because they were back and forth throughout the year. But transitioning, it could be tough. Honestly, looking back at it, being removed from it for so long, I think you make it harder than it is. Because like you said, junior college in Florida and a high-level JUCO, like that conference is, the Mid-Florida Conference, you see a lot of the same stuff. You might not see the shiny shoes and the fancy jerseys and the immaculate ballparks, but you definitely see guys on the mound who are throwing 90 plus, guys who have invisible sliders, dudes who can bang baseballs. I think moving to D1, you see just more of it. There's more top to bottom in the lineup of guys who can get it done. There's more top to bottom on rotations and guys out of the bullpen that are those 90 guys with the bangers coming with the sliders and changeups and such. So there's just more. But I mean, I didn't feel that I was outmatched in terms of not being able to compete there because it's so different. I just think there's just a greater number of players that are like those elite players that you did play in and against in JUCO that are at that D1 level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, real quick question: you mentioned FGCU, which is in my backyard. What?
Right.
When were you there? Like, when did you coach?
Let's see. I graduated college in 2013. So that was my last year playing. So that would have been 13, 14, and 14, 15 was when I was there coaching before I left to coach high school.
Did you ever so you were staying on this side of the state, obviously, when you were coaching, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you guys ever interact with in the community when any local ball players come to the college or any of the leagues?
Different high school players come play for FGCU. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in that time in this area.
Yeah, we had a couple guys. One that I know of out of Estero High School, Tyler Selesky. He played at FGCU, played with me. And as I became a coach, I think I coached him for a year. Nick Rivera, he was another really good player that we had. Set a lot of records in the box for FGCU. Michael Suki's from just south of Tampa. He's another good player. Jake Knoll, who I mentioned earlier, who was a Louisville Slugger Freshman of the Year. He's from Punta Gorda. So there, Mario Leone, right-handed pitcher. Actually, there's a lot of guys from Southwest Florida that I either played with or coached, when I was down there in beautiful Fort Myers, Florida.
Well, it's good to hear that because you always hear that they always get guys from different areas, but it's good to know there's a crop of good ball players in this area. I mean, you get Shane, the pitcher from the Rays. I always mess up his last name. Brian Shane
McClanahan.
Yeah, he's from
he's
state of the world, right?
Yeah,
he's not bad.
Yeah, he's not. He's okay. He's not a stud. No. When you transitioned from the player to the coaching side, was it a big adjustment for you? Did you feel like was it hard for you to maybe get the players to listen and really grasp what you were telling them?
It was something that I was a little bit worried about, but I don't think that it was much of an issue. I think I mentioned earlier, my senior year, I didn't get a lot of starts. I would mostly come in and be a defensive replacement in the outfield, which I took a lot of pride in the way I played outfield. So becoming a coach and coaching where I played and coaching the guys I played with, I think they knew that I knew what I was talking about because they saw me do it. They saw me, be a student of what I was learning as a player, and they knew that I was giving them the best opportunity, the best information to succeed. So I ran the outfield. So when we had group defense, we had team defense, I was in the outfield walking back and forth, giving pointers, giving tips, different things like that. And we had a kid, center fielder at the time by the name of Gage Morey. And Gage came from Palm Beach Central High School, which was over by Palm Beach Gardens where I played. And Gage was one heck of an outfielder. And he made some incredible plays. And, I don't know if it's true, but he would always say that I was the one who taught him how to play the outfield. But he was a guy that I knew, a guy that, played with and transitioned to coaching, and he took the information and ran with it. So, like I said, I don't think it was as difficult as I thought it was going to be. But I think that's also a testament to the guys. There definitely could have been some guys that were just like, hey, I played with you. Why am I listening to you? But I think, those guys wanted to learn. They wanted to get better. So they were willing to, accept that information, see if it works for them. If it does, hey, this guy knows what he's doing still. Let's go and let's, back him and work hard for him. And if it didn't work, then who knows where I'd be. But, I guess I gave him some things that stuck and some things that worked. And, they started to buy in. And we worked hard out there. I was definitely proud of what I was able to do at a young age with, a Division I college roster. And I think that, those guys got better from the way we worked together as a unit.
I've seen a lot of that, and I think I'm going to go back maybe 2023, maybe the last 8 to 10 years, where a lot of younger guys are coming in and become coaches. And because normally the back in the day, it's all the old guy. The old guy comes in, he's the coach. They're grabbing a lot of younger guys that maybe didn't make it in the game, and now they're transitioning to coaches. And I'm sure the anticipation, are they going to listen to me? But I've seen the transition. I've seen guys excel that way because now it's like, you're closer to their age. You kind of been there already. You can relate a little bit and kind of help them along the way, even mentally in the game. They kind of understand and not getting stressed out and everything. So there's been so much of that going along, which I think is a great thing. You know, you want that young energy in there to kind of help these guys to kind of relatable with each other.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me was just being able to articulate what I knew and what I did. You know, being 22, 23 years old, I can show them and I know how it feels to me, but how can I explain it? You know, and I think I've gotten, as I've grown up, I've gotten so much better at being able to explain things different ways, because everybody learns differently, right? You know, everybody hears one thing that clicks, they hear something different, but you're saying the same thing. So the hardest thing for me at that age, at that point, was being able to, you know, articulate it in a way that made sense to them, that they could take the information and build upon. But you know, not everybody gets an opportunity as a 22, 23-year-old to, you know, coach the outfield at a Division I university that, you know, plays at a high level and expects to win championships in the conference they're in. So, you know, I thank Coach Tillett for the opportunity to, you know, believe in me to be able to do that. And Coach Rusty McKee was there at the time. You know, those two definitely, you know, believed that I could get it done, expected me to get it done, and treated me like somebody who, you know, had been there before. And it wasn't like I was, you know, the errand boy running around doing stuff. I was, you know, I was a part of it. And that was definitely something that, you know, also gave me confidence to go out there and be the best version of myself every day.
Well, I guess that's a good testament to the coaches and you know, there, that they have success because they believe in their ball players and believe in their staff to get things done. So, I mean, that's any program when you believe in what you have is going to excel. Whereas you try to be the man and try to worry everybody down, the program doesn't go anywhere.
Without a doubt, you know, the best teams are the teams that you give them the information, the players the information, they take it and they, you know, they coach, they facilitate, they lead. You know, if you have to constantly be the coach to say things, get things organized, then your team could be okay if you got some talent. But once you give, you know, them the information, the players the information, and they take it and, you know, make it their own, but make it something that everybody sees as the right thing, then your program's going to take off and it will be able to sustain success, as opposed to just relying on that, you know, big arm to come through or that big couple of bats or, you know, some magical run. Being able to give your knowledge as a coach to the players and them running with it and really taking it and building from it, that creates success for a long time.
Awesome. So you're in a college level and you start to find yourself going more towards the high school level. So how did the college level prepare you to now coach on the high school level? I mean, I know a lot of the kids, it's different ages coming up, you know, you're freshmen, they're just maturing, they're trying to understand it. So you kind of, you know, so how did that level prepare you for high school?
You know what the end product looks like, right? You know what the goal of what you're teaching looks like. You've seen it executed at a level that's higher than where you're, you know, that higher than where you are now, right? You went from college to high school. So you've seen the end product, the end result executed at a level that these kids aren't at yet. So you're working from knowing what it looks like to backtracking to finding where each of these kids are at, you know, individually. So that way you can pick them on their timeline and work with them towards the end goal. You know, like we mentioned earlier, when everybody's a little different, everybody, you know, has a little bit of a different swing and different approach, you know, different ways they do things. So I think the best thing was being able to know what it's supposed to look like at the highest level, and then working back to find each kid where they were and building them up to, you know, what they want to be, because they all want to play at the next level. So if you know what the next level looks like, how can you get them there? So I think that was the biggest and best resource I was able to provide for them, was knowing what it looked like and how to make it happen, and then finding them where they were and building them to that.
You know, one thing I just want to touch on that is that you're coming from college, playing it, coaching it, coming to the high school level. What more of a kid to look up to that? You know, what more of a kid to say, hey, you've been there, you understand it, so you're going to help me get to where you were at. You know the keys to the car. You know what it takes to get there. So I think that's a great testament to the fact that you're coming to, you know, people can think anything they want. Oh, he went to high school. No, that's where it starts. That's where you get the kids ready for that level. And if you're a great coach and you get the kids prepared and ready for the next level, no matter what it is we discussed before, maybe you just get education out of it. Maybe you just, you get something, but you're preparing them for life,
Without a doubt.
being their mentor and getting them ready. So that's good for them to have that, to have that, that level that you are at that level.
Yeah. And, one of my main goals every day is just to reach one kid that I didn't before, even if it's just in my classroom, to maybe inspire them to work a little harder and do a little more, so that way they're able to achieve what they want, because the only person stopping them at this point as a high schooler is their own head. I don't want to do it. I don't want to work that hard. They're stopping themselves. But if I can, or if somebody that I know or another coach can be that catalyst to help them get it rolling, then why can't they achieve what they want?
Yeah. Awesome. It's funny as you mentioned it as what the end product looks like, because the same thing goes when you're a teacher and you go up a grade level and you teach the next grade level up, and you're like, okay, I know what these kids are supposed to know at this point. So it's the same concept.
Without a doubt.
So let's talk Horizon. Horizon Hawks baseball program started in 2021. Those of us on the listeners that don't know anything about Horizon High School, we are, I say we because I live across the street from the school, and I'm zoned for Horizon High School. But the high school was built in 2021, or opened in 2021. It's on the west side of Orange County, Winter Garden, Horizon West area. And this area has exploded with growth in the last decade, but particularly maybe the last 5 years. But the growth is crazy. I mean, it's hard to describe. They build schools like every year. We're building 2 or 3 new schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. And it's brought a lot of people from a lot of different places into this area. So it's given you something unique to build over there at Horizon, with new kids coming in all the time. Give us a little thought into why you decided to take on a new program versus staying or going with an established program, and then what are some of your highlights from the last couple of seasons?
Yeah. Everybody always wants to be able to create something and, leave a stamp of, how would I do it if I had a blank canvas, right? Mm-hmm. So Horizon being that blank canvas was a great opportunity to, go to Horizon and create something with all the different things that I've learned, right? The different coaching styles I saw and learned from at Daytona, the different ways of explaining things, the confidence in your players, the confidence in your coaching staff from FGCU, the different steps I took along the way. It's the opportunity to put it all together and create something new, right? And, if we do it right, it stays that way for 10, 20, who knows how long, but it's definitely the foundation for what Horizon baseball and hopefully the Horizon community as a whole, becomes. And I thought that was a great opportunity. And I was lucky enough that our AD Scott Drabzik saw that I would be a great fit and a great person to give the reins over to create, what Horizon baseball is right now, and hopefully what it continues to grow into in 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. First year tough, second year a little bit better. I think we had maybe one player that had varsity experience my first year. And the speed of the game is something that is just, you can't teach. Guys can explain things, guys can show you how to make adjustments and drills. You can't teach the speed of the game. So our first 2 games, preseason, we played Seminole and we played Winter Springs. And I was over there at Seminole in their preseason classic, and they beat the brakes out of us. And, but if you looked down our dugout, you looked on the field, you just saw these wide eyes, right? Like, oh my gosh, how is this happening this fast? And it was all speed of the game. These guys, they can play baseball. They have ability. They're not, outmatched that much. Like I said, we had one guy who was a varsity player. So a lot of guys were JV players or freshmen, sophomores. So it's just the speed of the game, to be completely honest. And once they started to see and get that game to slow down, halfway through the year, towards the end of the year, the game slows down. They've seen it, they've done it, they have the reps, they have the in-game practice, they have the in-game, reps. They started to have more confidence. We had my first year, we had a couple of guys hit north of 400, I think. We definitely had a couple of guys that were close to 500 on base percentage. We had a couple dudes in the 300s in the box. We struggled a little bit on the mound. As I mentioned, speed of the game. So that comes with, speed of arms. So, we don't have a lot of guys going out there throwing fire and breaking them off with some nasty sliders. So we're trying to piece things together and find ways to win. And at the end of year one, we were able to start doing that. We won a couple games towards the end of the year, and we rolled into winning a district game as well, and then ended up losing in the semifinals, the districts, to the eventual winner, McKeel Academy. But just the growth of that year, that it made me very proud to see those guys grow, to see those guys not give up. It's hard to continually show up, continually listen to what a coach and a coaching staff is telling you. If you do this, you'll be successful. And then you go out there and you don't find the success because you just haven't done it enough, So the boys kept showing up, kept working, they kept believing. And that transitioned well into this past year, year two. We doubled up on our wins from last year, or from year one. We doubled up on those wins. I think we left some wins out there on the field. I think we could have been 11, 12 wins this season instead of what we did have. And my guys would agree with that. But there weren't wide eyes. There wasn't, I don't belong here. It was, I belong here. Let's go toe to toe with whoever shows up and let's go play the game. And, there were some games where we're definitely outmatched, and, it showed at the end of the game in the box score. But the majority of our games, we were right there. We were right there. We battled, we competed. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for. That's really all you can ask for. I'm continually so very proud of my guys for the way that they work, for the way that they, approach the information and the different things that my staff and I give them. And I think it's going to continue to pay off and continue to see us, build and grow into year three.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment that you guys are doing a good job as a program, kind of building a rapport in the community. So they're running David, they're running camps all summer. They ran camps over the holidays. So there's kids engaged. The next levels of kids coming up in the game in the area are engaged with the program, and the boosters over there are doing a great job. So I think the program itself is just, obviously establishing itself, and you guys have made big improvements on the field in the last year, but also, that will continue, I think, to grow because of the way that you guys have engaged, the school community and the broader local community.
Yeah, Horizon High School baseball isn't Dane Wisneski. I'm a small cog in the wheel that makes it roll. So being able to reach out and, get those different pieces and those different parts that help that wheel roll down the hill smoother is what it's all about. From myself, my coaching staff, the players, the parents, the local community, the kids who come out to camp, the boosters, everybody who's had any little bit or any little part of, what Horizon baseball is somebody who's, helped build to where we are now. Like I said, it's not me. I had a small vision that our AD liked, and we, as a whole community, are continuing to work to create that and create something that's gonna be there for decades. I'll be gone, you'll be gone. Horizon High School is still gonna be there. So,
Right.
It's not about me, man. It's about the area. It's about the people, and it's about hopefully I can impact them in a way that's positive. And that's what my goal always is.
The funny thing about this area is, we're where literally the school backs up to Disney property, right? So
Baseball field does, yep.
Yeah, the baseball field backs up to Disney property. So there's no lack of anything to do over here, but I do feel that the community at large likes like our own activities. It's like the Horizon West community over here likes our own activities. Like we want to support. I was at the football game with Horizon versus Windermere, and you would have thought I was at a college football game with the amount of people that showed up to this thing.
Yeah.
And you guys do a good job with. I was at the Windermere, you guys versus Windermere baseball game and a couple of your games, and they're well attended. There's people showing up. People want to, there's parents and students and just community members that like showing up and like to support something that's new, because a lot of people in this area are new to the area. So I think there's like a connection there between the programs and the people around.
Yep, I agree with you without a doubt. And I know my guys, I know the students, I know athletes, high school athletes, they love it when people come support. It gets them going, it gets them fired up, and seeing those extra people out there from the community just packing the stands. It's a great place to be a high school athlete. It's a great place to be, in high school. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete. Right. There's band, there's they have concert orchestra, they have plays that they have. I mean, they're all well attended. I try and go and watch my different students, but you're right. It's a community that's definitely willing to support and looking to support. And I'm definitely blessed and honored to be in a position to hopefully, build something that they're proud of.
No doubt. Yeah.
So I have one question regarding when you started. Started in 21. Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, how many kids came for your first tryout?
So that's a great question. So we have fall and spring baseball, right? So fall baseball is a couple months. It's an opportunity to get the guys out there, get them working. You really don't keep score. You don't have records. It's just to get them to work. But that first day for fall baseball, 2021, there were 12 people. 3 of them were in jeans, and one didn't own cleats.
Wow.
I believe it was our first or second game, and I kept them all. I need people to play these games that I have scheduled, because I got to start coaching them up. We got to start getting to work. Spring season's coming, and we got to put a team out there and see what we can do. So I was either our first or second game. We're playing at Olympia, and one of my players comes running in like 10 minutes before the game starts. I couldn't tell you why. He's late. School ends. You get in a car, you drive. I don't know, but sorry. He shows up and he's got these new cleats, and I'm like, well, thank goodness he's got cleats, because he didn't have any. But then he can't get him on his feet. I'm sitting there trying to put shoes on him so he can play, and he eventually is like, no, and he just throws the cleats back in the bag and puts on his sneakers, and I'm like, wow, this is good. So yeah, day one, about 12 kids. I think there were about 3 or 4 that had legitimate baseball experience, JV or travel baseball. The other ones were like, yeah, I like baseball. I played 5 years ago.
Too funny.
Then, moving into spring of that year, definitely got, more baseball players, better turnout. We were able to field a varsity team, not varsity and JV. But I think we had like 15 or 16 kids on varsity, 2 juniors, and the rest were freshmen and sophomore.
But it was also an experience for them to get to be able to be on being younger with the new program and just kind of build with it.
Without a doubt, great experience, great opportunity. And like I had mentioned before, the speed of the game, now that you have a little more context with their age and their, what they had played before, that speed of the game hit them in the mouth. But as I said, I give them kudos for keep coming back, continuing to work, and, making it so they weren't overmatched in the speed of the game. They knew what was expected, and now they just had to continue to work to get better as individuals and as a unit.
When did you actually start your JV program?
Last year was the first year that we had a JV program. So we had, I think, 14 kids on varsity, and we had 11, I believe, on JV last year. So I believe there's 25 or 26. Yep, 25 or 26 in the program. So exactly, it's growing. I expect in our fall season upcoming to have 20, 25 kids. And that's with a small handful of my varsity starters playing football or playing other fall sports. So I definitely expect to, continue to build that number. And I wouldn't be shocked if we have, 40 something kids at tryouts in the spring.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing is when you start the program, you didn't know what you're going to expect. We're going to see if you build it, they will come. You've built it and they're coming. And like Brian said, more people that come into the area, it's word of mouth. Hey, come, they go to the high school. Hey, they got a baseball team and start to build the program before you got to turn kids away because you don't have spots for them, but it's just a good thing just to have a program that's growing in the right direction.
Without a doubt. And like Brian talked about earlier, the importance of community and how the community's just kind of taken to their, what the community does. And I think that's going to continue to grow, not just baseball at Horizon, but, volleyball, football, soccer at Horizon, at the middle schools, at even, Windermere right down the street. There's so many, different schools in this small area that will continue to benefit from that viewpoint and that thought process of the people and having some pride in the community.
So I don't know. I think I got one comment I wanted to make. I think with baseball, particularly in Florida, some of the decision-making process, some of these families up in New York or other places that are moving down here make, if you've got a good baseball player that's a middle school age kid or something up north, and you're able to move, getting them into Florida to play at a high school level gives them a whole different threshold for competition. So if I recently wrote a couple things on the MLB draft and the College World Series, and just the number of kids coming out of the state of Florida that were in both, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, so if you're able to play high school baseball in the state of Florida, you're playing at a different level than 95% of the rest of the country.
Without a doubt. And like you said, a lot of the people coming down to our area at least are from the Northeast, right? So they have to stop playing baseball because it gets too cold. And one of the things that I think one of the reasons Florida is so great and good at baseball and producing great baseball players is because they don't have to stop. Yeah. If you have that internal drive and that passion to be great at this game, Florida gives you that opportunity. Even if it is 110 heat index out here in Orlando today and you're wondering why people are out there, you still have the opportunity. So, there's kids across the country who don't get that every day. And that's definitely a bonus for, honestly, I love Florida. So it's definitely a bonus for us.
Hey, I'm learning how to breathe in the hot weather. I work at home and going to travel games and sitting out there and no air and just heat. It's
tough, man.
It kind of grows on you, but I don't know. I guess you do it because you want to make sure that you're there for your kids. But you do have one recruit coming up. I think he's 8 years old right now. Lives across the street from you. Will probably be coming up shortly. A couple more years. We'll be in the JV team, hopefully. So his name is George Koss. So George will be coming up.
He might play JV as a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old, or it's probably 10-year-old maybe. He's working on it. He's working on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I am very excited to see what Horizon baseball becomes in the next, 2, 3, 5 years. Hopefully we, follow that same trajectory as Windermere. But it's hard catching Lassiter, man. That guy gets it done. They got some. They're doing some good stuff over there, and Eric's a great and a great coach, a good guy, and he's tough to catch, man.
Well, we got that crosstown rivalry going, so you'll get there.
I agree with the location wise, but my college coach said it's not a rivalry unless both teams are beating each other. So, maybe give me 3 to 5 years and we might get to knock them off once or twice and we might get to talk about that. But
I guess that's a good point. Well, I guess Horizon's got the football team and
yeah.
right now, so
So yeah,
that's not a
no,
rivalry much either. Yeah.
the schools, sure, but
Right.
the baseball program, we need some time to reel them in a little bit.
It's all right. We'll get there.
Yeah, hey, you can't get there unless you're working, so we're going to keep doing that.
So let's just switch gears a little bit. Now we went from college to high school. We're going to switch a little bit to you're involved with the Orlando Scorpions. They're a big travel organization in Central Florida. I probably have heard of them. I think may have seen them. Unless you've traveled to Fort Myers with the organization, maybe I've seen them down here. Not sure. I'm just getting into travel now, but how long have you been coaching at that, and what age group are you kind of focusing on?
Yeah, so my first year coaching at university was when I started coaching with the Scorpions. So that would be 5-6 years ago. I took this summer off because I have a 5-month-old at home, our first. So I'm in full dad mode from sometimes before sun comes up to when the sun goes down. But I'd worked for the Scorpions for 5 years. Great organization. Bob Reichman, he is the figurehead of the organization, and he coached at Rollins College for a while. Great guy, very focused, very goal-oriented person, but is one of the reasons why that the Scorpions metronome continues to tick. I personally coached the upcoming juniors. I coached the upcoming seniors, and my 2 summers ago, so again, I took the summer off, I was coaching incoming 9th graders. So all high school guys, but a little bit of a different span, depending on the year. And I love it. As a coach, you love going out there. You love, being able to coach different guys from different schools and kind of give them a different voice to hear, teaching them, a lot of the same things, but that different voice that maybe it's that thing that helps it click. And with the travel circuit, you as a coach get a lot greater opportunity and easier access to meet and talk to college coaches, right? So it might not be the right fit for the guys you have on the team that year, but hey, you reach out to the guy 2 years down the road. Hey, I got a guy that I think fits your program. You should come check him out. So as a coach and coaching, travel ball and coaching with the Scorpions, and the Scorpions have a vast network of, coaches that have been around a long time that have been doing some awesome things within that organization. Those guys know so many different college coaches. So just being able to, continue to learn as a coach from these guys that you're working with, as well as, get in contact with these different colleges to help the kids hopefully reach, their goals, which is, at the end of the day, what a coach's job truly is, helping young people achieve something they couldn't before.
And you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, coach is okay. Rec ball coaches don't get paid, right? But high school coaches get paid, college coaches get paid, but we all have the same job, right? The job is, how do we get this kid to love the game enough to want to keep playing it so that when he gets to the next level, so if I coach 13, 15U, how do I get the kids who are not playing high school to get to the high school to get to you, so then you can take on the reins, right? Like a running like a race. Now I give you the reins. Now you take the same kid. How do you get him to keep loving the game, keep getting better, down to get to the college level? So that is pretty much what the coach is. That is exactly what you just said. What a coach is.
Yeah, 100%. When I was growing up, it was Coach Ron, it was Coach Bruce. How do I get to become that for somebody else? That's what I'm helping. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want to be. I want to, help people achieve something they couldn't before, we came in contact with them to help them learn and grow. But to get back to the Scorpions, great organization, great people, great coaches, guys who really want their players to get better and really want their players to get to play at the next level. And I think they do an incredible job of working with colleges and getting their players seen and giving their players opportunities to play at the next level if that's something they want to do. And, it's not just the Scorpions. There's other great organizations out there that are able to have those contacts with colleges and get their guys to play at the next level. But, I will say a lot of what travel ball in the summertime is becoming is more geared towards, those big organizations like the Scorpions, like Power, like 5-Star, like all those different teams and organizations that have multiple teams at multiple age groups and all different things, different tiers, etc. There's a lot of that happening, but the positives with that is those organizations have relationships with colleges, and it doesn't mean it's a Division I. It doesn't have to be Alabama. It doesn't have to be Stanford. It could be Central Florida Community College. It could be, Mountain Union. It could be all these different places, because there are coaches who need players. So if your player is willing to go play somewhere that he may not have heard of before and may not have thought of, then you're going to get that opportunity, because these coaches at these organizations have that connect and can get you to continue to play if that's truly what you want.
Quick question: the Scorpions are you guys recruit from all over, or is it east? You guys are more located on the east side of Orlando, right?
Yeah. Yep. So we do have some guys who trickle in from the west side. Power has a lot of the west side guys. But yeah, east side, Orlando, the coast. Johnny Goodrich runs the day-to-day of the Scorpions, and he longtime coach at Spruce Creek High School. Incredible coach, great human. He runs a lot of, he does run the Scorpions day to day. So we have a lot of East Orlando. We have some Ocala, we have East Coast guys, and the brand, the Scorpions, they have other small spots in different places across the country. That doesn't mean that, we all come together and have a tryout and pull the best from each one. Yeah. But it does mean that, that brand, that name is growing, and maybe in the future, that's something they do. But yeah, we've had guys, the Holiday brothers, Jackson, first round pick 2 years ago. He played for us at the Scorpions. Ethan plays for us now at the Scorpions. He'll be the first overall pick in a couple of years. So, those guys are from Oklahoma. We have one of our coaches who's originally from Washington State. He pulls in some guys from there. We get dudes from the Carolinas. The brand's been around. So, sometimes those really gung-ho parents, they reach out and they want their kid wearing the purple. So it works out. But like I was saying before, there's a lot of these big name, organizations, Scorpions, Power, 5-Star, the Elite Squad, the Sox. These are all big organizations that get those guys from all over, whether it's a connect with a friend or a parent reaching out. It's happened to be the way that it works these days. But the Scorpions do a great job. I think it's a great organization. I think I've learned a lot from the coaches, without a doubt. And, it's definitely something that, if given the opportunity and a player has the ability to go play for them, 10 times out of 10, I'd tell them that's a great opportunity for you.
It's all about the purple, right? Horizon High School, Scorpions baseball. I actually wore purple today for that.
Hey, it's a great look, man.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my shirt there's purple.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It helps. I don't have to continually change wardrobes and colors.
That's right. That's right. That's perfect.
Exactly.
Well, Dane, man, we really appreciate you hanging out with us today and sharing your story. Your coaching philosophy and what you're doing at Horizon and your background. So we enjoyed it for sure. And we'll be following up with you as well. Of course, I'll be bugging you about stuff here locally for a while.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on, giving me the platform and the opportunity to talk about this great game, to talk about the things that I think are important, and to talk about Horizon High School and hopefully the continual growth of what we're building, and give an opportunity to me to talk about my guys, my boys that I'm coaching up, and how proud I am of them, and how I can't wait to continue to work with them and help them achieve their goals. And I think there's a lot of great things out on the horizon for us, for the program, for the team, for these young men. And, I'm really looking forward to see what comes next. So again, I appreciate you guys having me on, and, being able to be a part of episode 48.
Yeah.
You know, can't wait to come back on episode 100. You know, here for that follow up. I'll be looking for episode 50. That's an incredible milestone. Kudos to you guys. You guys are doing a great job. You know, like I said before, I've been listening to some of your different podcasts. You know, I listened to you guys talk with Lassiter and my boy Dash. I listened to you guys talk with Dash.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was just gonna mention his name. I was gonna say,
You know,
Dash
when we were off the air with him, I think I asked him about you right afterwards. I said, you know, he's oh yeah. So, well, you know,
yeah.
coming on soon.
Dash is a good guy, man. I like Dash a lot. I may have actually seen Dash's greatest swing. It wasn't on a baseball field. We were playing golf, and he squared up a ball. And I kid you not, he drove this thing just towards the green, and somehow the driver head snaps off and goes. Man, I mean, he had some great swings on a diamond, but that was special. I won't forget that one.
But one thing I have to say is you're what a coach is supposed to be. I got to give you the kudos to that. You know, my son played high school ball. Can't say anything about that coach because it just wasn't in the right. Like we said, coach's mind is get these kids ready for the next level, prepare them, put them out there, get people to watch them, if that's the route they're gonna go. So keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you're gonna be, you know, if you change one kid's life, you change so much. There's so much baseball out there, so many kids out there that love this game. But you know, everything I heard today, I mean, exactly what a coach is supposed to be. So I give kudos to that because I'm going to send my kid to a high school. Unfortunately, I'm in Southwest Florida, but that's the type of coach that I want him to go in the program. Not because I worry about playing time. I worry about the mindset of learning the game and getting to where he needs to get. So good job there. And you know, hopefully one day I'll get up there and kind of catch your games.
Hey, David, I appreciate that. That means the world to me. And, you know, hopefully I can continue to have that impact on, you know, these different players that I get in contact with and get the opportunity to coach.
Awesome. Great. Real quick plug, merchandise at the LOD store. Merchandise at the LOD store. That glove also, DC3 Bat Company, is one of our sponsors. I have a glove that looks exactly like that says Legends on Deck on it. I had it on one show so far, but it's usually it's in the garage. Georgia and I have been playing catch with it like every day, so we're good. We're getting it broken in, and then EZIP Mortgage as well, another sponsor. So thank you guys. Episode 48 of the Legends on Deck podcast. Great job.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Go Hawks.